Okay, I shaved today, so I don't want to put my hat on. There's the hat, but I don't want to put it on because I got aftershave on my head, face. Okay, so I wanted to redo one of the videos, and it was like in the middle of all the videos, so it might look kind of funny that in the middle of this series of videos, I'm all of a sudden shaved. But so I wanted to redo one of my Gary Yourofsky review videos because. I wanted to better articulate what I said, and then I was also remembering a lot of other things that I wanted to say that I forgot to say. So I have some notes here. I was trying to not do notes because I wanted to just say things naturally as they came to me without actually just reading a script. So notes. I got notes to remind myself of what I wanted to say. Hopefully the laptop on this the battery on this laptop won't hopefully the battery on this laptop won't just die on me. Okay. So Gary Yourofsky is Jewish, so he believes in God. So that's a good point because one of the issues that people have with Gary Yourofsky is when he compares the Holocaust involving the Jews. So he's Jewish, so take that into consideration. So people have an issue when he compares the Holocaust with what animals are going through in the animal agriculture business. So he calls it the animal Holocaust, and people have they get pretty offended by that because they don't want to be compared. They don't want as humans they don't want to be compared to these animals. Um, these non-human animals. We're all animals, but they don't want to be compared to non-human animals. So they get offended by that because they have this feeling of superiority um, over like cows, chickens, pigs, turkeys. They feel superior, probably because we can speak, but we can speak to each other, and so animals, non-human animals, have their own language. They can speak to they can communicate with each other. They're not as advanced as we are, but that doesn't mean their lives don't matter. And maybe a lot of them aren't as intelligent as we are. We don't have the same level of intelligence, but that doesn't mean we should exploit them and kill them and eat them just because they're not as intelligent as we are. So it's this feeling of superiority that a lot of people have, where they feel like, well, don't compare me to them, basically. So that's probably what the deal is there with uh, people getting offended by comparing the Holocaust, where a lot of people died. They don't want any comparison drawn between that and what animal agriculture is. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to bring up speciesism. Where do I have this on my notes here? Okay, later, later I bring that up. Okay, superiority over, well, so that's basically speciesism, but I guess I'll get to that later because that's later in my notes here. Anyway, um, so Gary Yourofsky, he points out, um, although humans have this feeling of superiority over all the other animals on the planet, Gary Yourofsky points out that humans are not that special. Humans are not as special as we think that we are. like a lot of humans are have potential for doing good things, Um, but if you take, and this is a point I've heard elsewhere, if you take humans off the planet, if humans just became extinct, then everything on the planet would benefit from our humans' absence, which makes a lot of sense because there's a lot of damage that humans do in general to the planet, and definitely the non-human animals, they would they would from their perspective, they would be like, great, the humans are gone, we're free, we don't have to be killed and eaten anymore. So from the non-human animals perspective, uh, they would they would thrive without us. So in that way, we're not special to the planet in that way, because without us, the planet and the animals would thrive without humans. Um, but without other creatures on the planet, like bees, the bees are very important to the planet. And without the bees, everything would collapse. So we are not as important as bees are, basically. Um, and Gary Yourofsky, he has a video where he comments on how humans insult animals, sort of kind of indirectly, but like we as humans, we're insulting animals in a way when we use the name of animals as insults when we insult each other. When one human insults another human, we'll use the name of an animal as as an we invoke the name of a non-human animal and use it as an insult when we insult each other, like chicken or bitch or cow, those types of words. So that's interesting. How we just use animals as ways of insulting each other, human to human insulting. But in the video, he's, uh, um, I think it's his girlfriend. Uh, they're using the names of the animals typically used as insults, but in the video, he's using the words in a complimentary way. When he and you can tell by the tone too. He he'll so his girlfriend will be like petting an animal, and Gary will be calling his girlfriend a bitch or a cow when his girlfriend is next to like a dog or a cow, respectively. So and then she reacts in a positive way. So that's the kind of the funniness of that video. So Gary Yourofsky, he also he comments on how it's bad enough what humans do to the planet, like in general with animal exploitation, and what we do in general, like um, deforestation, just like pushing animals out of the way to make more room for other humans. So it's bad enough in general what we do to the planet and the animals, and then he says, do we really have to eat them? We got to cut them up and eat them? Do we really have to eat them on top of everything else that we do to the animals? So then, okay, so back to the animal holocaust. Uh, when Gary Yourofsky's question about like why do you have to compare the why do you have to compare what animals are going through with the Holocaust? Because they're getting offended by it, and so Gary responds by saying that the animal Holocaust has been going on long before the Jewish Holocaust, and it was going on during the Jewish Holocaust. The animal Holocaust is still going on today, Gary says. So it's the lives lost by all the animals in animal agriculture is much higher than the lives lost in the Jewish Holocaust, is what Gary says. Which is a good point, but most people would be like, well, humans are much humans are have more value, so that's their position. So they don't even want to see the comparison of the numbers because they feel that non-human animals just they don't matter, basically, unless in the only thing that matters is what we can get from them, basically, not the actual life that they have. So when the Jews were freed after the Holocaust, all the animals were just left behind. All the non-human animals, they're still there. So that's the point that Gary makes there. So with the similarities that Gary Yourofsky makes between the Holocaust and the animal Holocaust, um, he says if you replace the humans in the Holocaust with the animals, all the non-human animals, you replace the humans with the non-human animals, and it's basically the same situation is going on there. Because non-human animals and humans, we give we, well, this is kind of my point here, not specifically Gary, but like non-human animals and humans will give the same reaction. It's so obvious, but well, they both humans and non-human animals give the same reaction when you cut them, when you stab them. They'll scream from the pain. They'll bleed. Their insides will fall out when you cut into them and us both, and they die. So they feel just like we feel. It should be obvious. When you cut into them, they're screaming in pain. So with the comparison, oh, I better cut it off. It's at 14 minutes already.